It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White Smoke, the path to a new pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.
Need something lighter before diving into today's chaos? Daily Comedy News tracks the latest from your favorite comedians. We're your morning download on Mulaney, Gaffigan, Chappelle, SNL, and everyone making moves in comedy. What comedy specials are streaming this week? Who's doing what? And even though it's comedy, there's always a controversy. From arena tours to streaming deals, club comebacks to industry shakeups, think of us as your daily shot of laughs before facing the real headlines. 7 days a week, get Daily Comedy News wherever you get your shows. Daily Comedy News.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From Miami, where if my wife asks, we're just here to cover the news, this is Ballot.
That's right. That middle-aged drunk guy judging the wet t-shirt contest wasn't me. I was in my room prepping today's show. Let's hit this. So, Miami Beach is sticking to its breakup with spring breakers for a second year. That's right. The city that once welcomed college students with open arms is now basically saying, new phone, who dis? Mayor Stephen Miner announced they're bringing back all those fun-killing security measures for March, including parking restrictions, increased fees, and the strong possibility of getting your dignity searched at a DUI checkpoint. Miner was practically giddy about last year's results, saying, last year's spring break was a success on any level you measure it. We had 0 fatalities, 0 shootings, 0 stampedes. Wow, the bar for success in Florida is lower than my expectations at a gas station sushi counter. The city even created a follow-up to last year's Miami Beach's Breaking Up with Spring Break campaign with something called a reality check video. It shows young people on a fake reality show having their vacation ruined by the city's rules. Because nothing says don't come here like showing potential tourists exactly how miserable you'll make them. When asked if Miami Beach might reconcile with spring breakers, Miner firmly stated, no, we're done. It's the most commitment to a breakup I've seen since my college girlfriend discovered my browser history. Meanwhile, over in Daytona Beach, Sheriff Mike Chitwood is also preparing for war against spring breakers, saying they don't bring any financial benefit. All they do is bring chaos. And if they want to bring chaos, I am going to bring chaos in return. That's not a law enforcement strategy. That's the tagline for a Jason Statham movie. Miami Beach business owners are divided on the issue. Louis Take, a hotel owner, supports the restrictions, saying visitors should behave the same way they would at home. Which I assume means quietly drinking wine in their underwear while watching true crime documentaries. On the flip side, David Wallach, who owns Mango's Tropical Cafe, thinks the city should organize concerts and events instead of scaring people away. Because what could possibly go wrong with organizing large events for the exact crowd you're trying to avoid? Some civil rights advocates believe these restrictions might be racially motivated, pointing to the city's history with Urban Beach Week. But Mayor Miner rejects this notion, insisting law and order is the #1 priority in our city. So this March, if you're heading to Miami Beach, remember to pack light, arrive early, and maybe consider literally any other destination. Nothing says spring break memories like being treated as a potential security threat while paying $20 for a watered-down cocktail. You know what really gives billionaires the heebie-jeebies? Apparently, it's Social Security. Elon Musk, the man who can afford to build rocket ships as party favors, went on Joe Rogan's podcast to call Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. This coming from a guy who pumps up Dogecoin whenever he's bored. I mean, when the richest man in the world starts worrying about retirement funds, it's like watching Scrooge McDuck panic about the price of gold. So here's the deal. Americans contribute 6.2% of their wages towards Social Security, but only up to $176,100. After that, billionaires like Musk are basically done paying for the year before the rest of us have even taken down our New Year's decorations. It's what they call a pay-as-you-go system, which worked great when we assumed people would keep having babies and dying on schedule. But with 75 million baby boomers retiring by 2030 and people living longer than expected, the math isn't mathing anymore. Musk said, "We better fix what we've got right now, because if it's bad now, it's going to be much worse in the future." Which is exactly what my mechanic says every time I bring in my car, right before charging me $3,000. Some Democrats want to remove the contribution cap so billionaires would pay the same percentage on all their income. John Larson, who's like the Social Security defender-in-chief, is promising to resist these cuts in every way possible. He's treating potential Social Security cuts like they're invading aliens in an Independence Day sequel. Meanwhile, Trump is cracking down on immigration, which means even fewer people paying into the system. It's like refusing to hire new bartenders while the happy hour crowd keeps getting bigger. What could possibly go wrong? Oh great, the health secretary is prescribing vitamins while children are catching the measles. What's next? Treating broken bones with extra calcium? So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our health secretary and former anti-vaccine crusader, is now focusing on vitamin A to combat a measles outbreak in Texas. This is the same guy who spent years criticizing measles vaccines, now using his government position to promote vitamin A supplements. The Department of Health and Human Services has even directed the CDC to update its guidance on caring for measles patients to include information about vitamin A. Kennedy wrote in a Fox News op-ed, "Studies have found that vitamin A can dramatically reduce measles mortality." What he conveniently left out were any of the risks associated with taking too much vitamin A. Health experts are concerned that Kennedy's focus on vitamin A sends the wrong message about preventing this highly contagious disease. Sue Cressley, president of the American Academy of Pediatrics, said, "Relying on vitamin A instead of the vaccine is not only dangerous and ineffective, but it puts children at serious risk. Taking too much vitamin A can cause liver damage and, in extreme cases, even death." Let's be clear about something. Vitamin A isn't some miracle cure. It's considered supportive care and is typically used in countries where children are malnourished. According to the CDC, vitamin A deficiency affects less than 1% of the U.S. population. Meanwhile, in Texas, a 6-year-old unvaccinated child died last week, the first U.S. measles death since 2015. At least 159 people have been infected in the West Texas outbreak. Of the cases where vaccination status is known, 80 were unvaccinated and 5 were vaccinated. Down in Gaines County, Texas, the epicenter of the outbreak, residents have been stocking up on vitamin A and cod liver oil. The owner of a local health food store said, "They'll do cod liver oil because it's high in vitamin A and D naturally, food-based." So while Kennedy has HHS sending 2,000 vaccine doses to Texas, they're also working on sending a shipment of vitamin A. Because apparently, when there's a disease that's prevented by a vaccine, the logical response is to send both the vaccine and some vitamins just to be safe. Maybe next time I get a flat tire, I'll try both a spare tire and some premium air freshener. You know, as supportive management. Trump has all the best advisors. A DJ who gives karate kicks in the ear? Trump just found his perfect foreign policy advisor. Have you heard about this guy, Michael McCoon? He's a 62-year-old karate instructor and wedding DJ from Arizona who somehow got President Trump to quote his Facebook post about Ukraine policy. This is wild. McCoon posted some thoughts in a Facebook group called Benson Chit Chat, where people normally share handyman recommendations, and somehow Trump saw it and shared it with 9 million followers on Truth Social. In his post, McCoon claimed Trump played both sides like a master chess player in his meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. According to this martial arts master part-time international relations expert, once U.S. companies start mining in Ukraine, Putin won't be able to attack without triggering massive international consequences. And just like that, a wedding DJ who spends his days teaching karate chops in a dojo with an Eagle Sun hybrid logo is now apparently influencing U.S. foreign policy. Before Trump quoted him, nobody was sure if the president was still interested in this minerals deal with Ukraine. McCoon describes himself as a former Democrat who was so inspired by Trump that he switched parties. When asked about being noticed by the president, he said he's connected with the minds and hearts of the American people. Yes, Nothing says connected with the American people like taking foreign policy advice from a Facebook group where people also trade plumber recommendations. The White House had no comment, but on Monday, Trump decided to pause all future military aid to Ukraine. So who needs the Pentagon or State Department when you've got a karate instructor with a Facebook account? This is Patrick Gutfield saying, I don't know what's more disturbing, that our Ukraine policy might be influenced by a DJ's Facebook post, that I'm voicing jokes written by AI, or that I've been spending all these years studying political science when I could have just been posting in Benson Chit Chat all along.
It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White smoke. The path to a new pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.